Hiya, pals. Hi, pals, and welcome to the Disneyland Paris Show. Here's your hosts, Lucy, Chris, and Hugh. Gosh. And now, Disneyland Paris News. Disneyland Paris hosted the first annual pass party since lockdown.
Character dining is once again available for booking on the app.
Concept art has been released for the French bistro, which is to replace Café Mickey.
Shanghai Disneyland is closed indefinitely due to a spike in COVID cases.
Well, hey there, hi there, ho there, Disney fans. I hope you've all had a lovely Mother's Day, otherwise known as Mothering Sunday, but Hugh was a bit upset about hearing that earlier.
Who calls it that?
Who calls it Mothering Sunday? Vicars call it.
I saw a card that said Happy Mothering Sunday. Like, who's sending that? It's so cold.
It is. I must say, if I got one that said Happy Mothering Sunday, it's like, not thank you for being my mum.
I think that we should do a card. I say we because that's my day job. We make cards, and we should do one that says, hello, you mother. Like when Alan Partridge says, smell my cheese, you mother.
Okay.
Or just smell my cheese, you mother. That would be funny to some mothers.
It's a bit questionable.
To some others. Right, coming up on the show today, we're going to talk all about the news. We have some good concept art we're going to have a look at, but we've also got live on the ground, eyes in the prize, trip reports from the annual pass party. We have some listener questions and some general videos of snacks, haven't we, Chris?
We do all sorts of stuff.
So,
sounds delicious,
goodies.
guys. Sounds delicious.
I hope no one's watching this or listening to this hungry because you're going to be drooling at the end of it. We will be doing audio description. Thank you very much to our man on the side here who's going to be providing that. But
The bit on the side?
Bit on the side. Well, who's the bit on the side here? I have two bits on the side.
My video looks a little low res. Is anyone else experiencing that?
Oh, my word, Hugh.
Might just be me. I don't know. I'll close it up.
Well, at least he wasn't offended, Chris.
Well, I'm hoping it is.
Right, so we're going to kick straight into the news. Do either of you got anything you want to say at this stage? Any housekeeping?
I don't know if there is any housekeeping from my point of view. Do you remember? Do you know what I did think right at the start? Do you remember when we used to do the news bits with funny voices? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Because I kind of miss it.
We still do a little bit.
Yeah, but we did like accents and all sorts at one point.
I definitely
and
have
we used to push each other and it
a
made me
news
laugh
voice. That's like when we were students and, young and hopeful. When we used to call takeaways, we used to challenge each other to see how long they could make the word nan last.
Nan.
So, yeah.
And then,
we'd take in turns and we had to ring up and go, hi, I'd like...
Blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 and a garlic naan bread, please. And I was terrible at it.
No, but the rule was you couldn't say bread, you had to say Brett at the end.
Oh, no.
And the takeaway, people got so used to it that they go, yes, a garlic naan. Yeah.
We must have been so tedious. But like I say, young and full of life. Right.
Full of something.
Do you know what else is good for people who are young and full of life?
What?
Character dining at Disney parks.
Character dining.
Woo!
That's not where you dine on a character.
No, I think two things are
Is it?
related here. Hopefully not.
Okay.
I bet there'll be a lot of meat on Mickey though, won't they?
Yeah. I bet his ears are crispy.
Nice bit of garlic dip. I think there's two related bits of news here. We're going to talk about the concept art for the French bistro later, but that is replacing Café Mickey, which was a major character dining spot. And within the same, I can't remember which came first, but they were within 24 hours of each other.
Right.
They also announced that they're bringing back character dining. So I think, obviously, the decision to bring back character dining was not based on that, but there was a bit of, yes, we are taking away character dining there, but look over here. Look, we're bringing it back over here, so you can be happy about that. That's fine. And I think in the future, more will return. We know there'll be one. We don't know if it'll still be Interventions in the Disneyland Hotel, but we presume there'll be character dining there. We're hoping the breakfast at Plaza Gardens will come back.
I hope they sort out that queuing situation at Inventions if they are bringing back character dining, because it's a bit of a nightmare, is that?
The layout of the buffet
it's not the best, is it?
People don't know what we're talking about. There's an L shape in the buffet, and that's just not conducive to reaching the food and
everything overlaps.
It meets in the middle. And so there's no sort of cafeteria style, everyone heading in one direction thing or in a circular thing. It's just...
It is out of control, guys.
Out of control.
No good. Anyway, you don't have those problems at...
It's not that bad. It's mildly inconvenient, isn't it?
We should have said at the off, by the way, we should have said for some of our viewers tuning in live today, it could be an hour earlier than normal because of the clocks changing. So it's a bit of a strange one because, like, to us yesterday now is 7:30, isn't it? But it's 8:30 really.
Can I own my mum for a minute?
Go on.
She didn't know the clocks were going
right
forward, and I told her yesterday, and her first reaction was, "Oh, great! I get an extra hour in bed." So she put her clock back.
Instead of forward.
No.
Until mid-afternoon, 2 hours behind the rest of us. Well, she said it was 11 a.m. her time when she realised. So when 11 a.m. our time or your time, she went, oh, no. I thought it was 11 a.m. So it was like 1 p.m. that she realised she'd spent the whole day 2 hours behind.
Bless her.
But that's quite a happy life, really. I mean, Sheila got 2 hours extra in bed on top of the rest of us.
No,
that
exactly.
comes from what? Not having a child.
Resolution's all right, by the way, guys. My phone just defaulted to 144p.
Oh, good. That's a relief.
I'm glad we've put that
The
to
audio
bed.
bitrate was low earlier, but it says it's okay now as well. So
good.
it's possible that the sound wasn't great at the start. But we're all good now. We're cooking with gas.
In that case, I'm going to carry on talking about character dining.
Do it.
Okay, so we've got two things. Got two things coming back here. I just said hopefully they'll bring back Plaza Gardens soon, and I just realised they are bringing back Plaza Gardens. So the main one is the princess dining at Auberge. The
Cylinder.
Yeah.
The Cinderella Lillian.
ADC, as we like to call it, which is Cinderella's Royal Table, just next to the castle. It's a premium dining experience, but it's face characters. Now, this is coming tandem with, we talked last week about them hugging characters again, how wonderful. But they can now, it's not just fur characters, it's face characters as well. That is characters that
Faces
have
and furries.
human faces, and also characters can now meet indoors. So the Princess Pavilion
Should be called
is back,
smoothies.
and
Smoothies, yeah, because they're not a fairy. They're smoothie.
oh, well, yeah, I don't know how well that would translate. So you can meet face characters, you can meet indoor characters. There's no limitations on characters anymore. So that immediately meant that we could bring back ADC, where you meet all the princesses. Now, we've done this meal. It is lovely. It's very nice inside. The princesses come round several times. It really is worth it if it's a trip of a lifetime and you've got some little girls or boys, but little girls who are majorly into princesses and kind of want to be princes. And you also get the mice from Cinderella, Susie and Perla. It's a really, really lovely meal. And the food is premium French cuisine. It's like real Michelin stuff. However, I personally don't know if we'll be rushing back because it's so expensive and it's a bit of a one and done for us. But if you're planning a dream trip later on this year in the summer, it's from the 31st of March. Now,
well, you see, back when we had our plan to go and stay in the Disneyland Hotel, we booked to go and do that. So we might decide to do it. Yeah, it might be one of the things that we add onto our trip. I guess we'll see. We'll have a bit of a think about it over the next few weeks.
I think it's worth it for one and done. I think if you've not done it before and you're up for... If
it's that or waltz, though.
Pauline says, what about big girls that love the princesses?
Oh, no, absolutely. I would go there as an adult on my own. I would go there as an adult. I wouldn't because of the price, is what I'm saying. But we actually, having said that, we like to do one major dining experience a trip. So last time it was Captain Jack's, and we've done Chez Remy, and we want to do Waltz next time. We've done Auberge. So I think once we've done all those, we'll start doing them again, and so we will do Auberge again. And I would love it whether Bonnie was with us or not. Now, I think the boys would prefer the princess dining.
Probably, yeah.
because there's characters.
Yeah,
It's that
yeah.
simple, and there's mice and things. But then I'm like, oh, waltz.
I know. We'll have to have a bit of a chat about it and decide what we want to do.
Yeah.
There's plenty of time yet. We can't book anywhere. Oh,
No.
apart from like, basically either of the restaurants at the Marvel Hotel, which you just ring up and book forever at the moment. By the sounds of it,
Sounds good.
If you want to go there, just top tip this. Apparently, you can just ring up and book it. So if you want to go there, you can't book it on the app.
If you're staying there.
Well, I guess, but you can book right up to November or something at the moment for those. So honestly, getting into it, I'm telling you now, which means that we won't be able to get our bookings, but still, it's worth it because it's not on the app. There's no easy way. You naturally think you need to wait till your 90 days or whatever it is, 60 days, 90 days. But even when you get to the 90 days, you still can't book it on the app. So you're going to have to ring up anyway. And I've seen lots of people are ringing up and booking and getting in. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
You see, we couldn't get in there when we went last August, and we tried and tried and tried, but we waited until the booking window opened and then tried online. We didn't ring up, so I wish I'd known that
Yeah,
then.
it looks like it's so popular that they're opening up bookings very early and then just letting you get in. So
Phoning up in this day and age just seems so
I know.
so archaic.
it really does, doesn't it?
And such hard
Like, I've gotta
work
ring
as well.
them.
Really hard work. The other character dining that's coming back is Plaza Gardens. Now, this has always been breakfast only character dining, and I've no information to say it's going to be anything other. They just said character dining is returning to Plaza Gardens, so I presume it's still just going to be breakfast. What they've done in the past is they do 2 sittings. I believe they do one at 8:30 and one at 9:15. And so you get like a 45-minute slot. My advice for it would be to go for the 9:15 one, because you can use your early morning magic hours to knock out some rides and you're not rushed out as quickly. With the 8:30 one, they're wanting to get the table clean for the 9:15 sitting, so it's very, very brief. But we enjoyed that one as well, didn't we? We met Tigger and Pooh and
Dayglow Tigger.
Mickey and I think Piglet. I think that's kind of standard, but they do change them out. It can be anyone. They don't advertise who it is because that meal can be anyone. You're usually going to get one of the Fab Five. And
someone asked last week about where to meet Tigger, didn't they? And actually, your character dining is a very, very good place to meet Tigger. He tends to be there, doesn't he?
He does, and he's good at interacting
Yeah,
as
really
well for character dining. What you want, do a bit of improv, a bit of playing around. Although you weren't impressed because he stole one of Bonnie's toys, didn't he?
Well, I mean, he playfully pretended to take it off her, but she was at an age where she was beginning to get a little distressed because he walked over to the next table and started meeting them.
And still
so
had his
it was
toy
like
in
he
her
was done with us, and she had to go up and like tug on his tail and say, "Can I have that back?" And I could see it was just a bit too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he kissed it and he gave it to her. But you know, I was just thinking, come on, mate. Don't be a jerk.
We got a lovely bit of interaction with Tigger at Inventions, where my dad had gone to get some more food whilst we were meeting Mickey, and so Mum was there with Mickey, like chatting away to him, and then my dad appeared in the corner, and Tigger crept up behind him and started hiding behind him and pulling faces and stuff back at my mum and Mickey. It was really funny.
Oh, they are so good. The character, not the character performers, the characters. They're so good at, you know, entertaining it. So people say, do grown adults meet the characters, and what do you do? And I don't know. Just, they're so good at kind of making it entertaining and interacting with you. And you think they can't speak, it's going to be difficult. But really, I think anyone of any age should do character dining. And yeah.
I think it's better when they don't speak, because when they do speak, it's always just a little bit awkward and sometimes feels a little bit forced to me. So I prefer it when they don't speak. I like the mime.
And we were saying, we watched some vlogs the other day, and the characters stick like religiously, but in an almost psychotic way, to their movie storylines.
They only talk within the very specific boundaries of only what you've seen on screen. So we saw a Tiana one, and she was saying, "Oh, I remember seeing you in my restaurant," and then she mentioned a best friend, and
Charlotte.
it wasn't improv like in that world that she lives in. It was specifically those things you've seen in the film. And Rapunzel's a good one at that. She only ever talks about, you know, the Snuggly Duckling and Pascal. You know, and you're like, come on, I just want a bit extra than that. I know that's probably easier for them, you know, but
It's yeah,
but it's not all of them. Like Aladdin was really good, wasn't he? When we met Aladdin a few years
he
ago,
was great. I just really love. I really love meeting characters. I love doing the meets and greets. I didn't mind them too much being socially distanced because you did a bit more of this miming and interacting thing. And I think anyone who's a little bit nervous or not sure or not bothered, I think you really need to throw yourself into it and give it a try.
Well, yeah, you can do. Give it a try. But, equally, you don't have to do it.
No, you don't have to.
You can just say, can I have a photograph, please? Thank you, bye.
Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can. I'm just saying...
Don't be scared.
It's not necessarily what people think it is.
They'll do what you want.
And you'll find, grown men cry, so to speak. Right, should we just take a moment? I can see, I've been chatting almost non-stop and I've seen so much going on in the chat, but I've not been able to read it.
I've got a jingle.
Who are they?
Hey.
Now, Chris sampled me talking in that, but I tried to mouth along with it, and I said you instead of they.
But you said it was you talking.
I know, I couldn't even quote myself.
I took it from an episode, from 2 or 3 episodes ago when he said it, and I thought, I'm going to take that, and I'm going to stick that with a jingle, because that'll be good.
I said earlier, that sounds exactly like a sting from Nickelodeon's Doug.
Not Disney's.
Not Disney's. I want to give a special thanks to Pauline Stott, who was first in the chat. You do get a prize for being first in the chat on this show. And I also want to give a special shout out to Wits Wanderlust, who says, hello, first time tuning in live after listening to like 30 past episodes over the last few weeks. Yeah.
You're a lurker.
There's loads of people here. So hello to everyone. The Dunn family says, hello all, sorry late. So late that they couldn't form a complete sentence.
You should give them a bell for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyway, so we got loads of people in the chat, and we'll try and get to some of your comments as we go along.
Okay.
But meanwhile, keep yourselves entertained.
Yay. Just talk amongst yourselves.
We're so glad we're glad you're all here.
We are.
We did used to do a full roll call, but it's getting a bit silly now. We can't.
It is a little bit. Yeah.
It's like the gadget show. The list of prizes just getting so long. You're just like going, is it still going?
And I used to imagine the van turning up at your house, going, we've got those prizes you won, and then your living room being full of like 5 flat screen
TVs,
and you'd
they
be
have
like,
to leave it all in a safe place or with your neighbour.
Yeah.
Big yellow storage box.
Yeah. Right. I think that'll take us on to where we know character dining is not coming back to, and that is Cafe Mickey. Chris, do you have the picture of the concept art?
Oh, now you're asking. I do have the picture of the concept art. Yes, it is right here.
Boom, boom.
Okay, listeners, we're looking at a boring facade.
Yeah, it is.
So it's a new French restaurant, bar and grill kind of thing, bar cafe. It's called Rosalie. It is part of I don't think it's a chain, but I think it's a catering group. What do you call it? Like Landry's own Rainforest Cafe.
All right.
And they do lots of other things. So I think it is part of a chain, but the name Rosalie isn't a chain.
They'd probably call it a family.
Family of restaurants.
Our family of restaurants.
It's utilising natural materials, I think I'm going to say to the listeners. So you've got kind of wooden cladding, and then you've got
trees,
a green wall.
It looks like some of the buildings at
Village Nature. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Which is fine, I like that.
Yeah, it's a little odd to me to think what it's replacing.
It's not Disney.
That's it. It's not Disney.
And everything doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to have Mickey ears on top of it or anything like that. But it doesn't look fun, does it?
It really doesn't, does it?
No. It looks nice.
Yeah, but we don't go for nice.
No.
Not
when it's. I mean, what it's replacing is so.
What's it replacing?
Cafe Mickey.
On
the corner.
Yeah.
All primary colours and big
iconic
hands.
It is.
Iconic. I was going to say, is it iconic?
I think it is.
It is, and it's right. It's the first thing you see when you're going towards the village from the hotels, and it's overlooking the lake. Now this, you're not going to see it, basically. It's going to blend into the background. So you've just lost something there. Now, having a look at the concept art of the whole village, I can see it fitting in with that. I think they're going for the local franc, so to speak, euro. Come on, get into the 21st century, Lucy. I think they're wanting to create a kind of shopping, dining, entertainment district where they can get non-hotel residents to go to. That's what it looks like to me, a much more and they're going to build multi-stories and things.
Do you know that bit in Friends when Chandler and Monica are moving and Ross says, sometimes I look over and I see you guys and it makes me, makes me feel happy to see you. He says, "Who am I going to see now? The Gottliebs? They don't make me feel so good."
Yeah.
That's so the approach to this is going to be seeing this building.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that 90s mall aesthetic that you were asking for a couple of weeks ago.
No, that's going to go.
I mean, we have to admit that Cafe Mickey's definitely had that 90s aesthetic, didn't it?
But you know what? It's been so long
that
that's kind of come back now, and And I like Discoveryland looking a bit 90s.
Well, it's like the fact that all our house, well, not all our house, but parts of our house are mid-century modern, i.e. 70s decor. And thing is, in the 80s, that would have seemed really crusty, wouldn't it? And now in 2020, we're so cool and hip. That I think you're right. I think the 90s aesthetic is so close to being
it's coming back.
Vintage.
I just think that when you're coming at the village from that end, and it's the first thing you see apart from the panorama, the hot air balloon.
Yeah.
That's one thing, but the other thing is coming from the other end of the village. It's the last thing you get to. Walking back to your hotel on a night, and there's characters in there meeting people, and it just feels so cozy and welcoming. And that picture, this picture, just doesn't, does it?
No.
I mean, again, for the listeners, these are quite sterile front-on architects' projections. They're not even concept art, really, are they? 'Cause if it was concept art, there'd be a lot more people drinking wine in the foreground.
It looks like a giraffe.
I think.
It looks like a branch of giraffe.
It does.
We've got a couple of takes on it. Mark Riley says it's not supposed to be Disney. It's a French brasserie. We need more good food at DLP.
Yeah, but on that corner.
Yeah. And Claire says the kids won't be begging to go in like me and my brother used to for Cafe Mickey.
It does have a bakery though, didn't I see somewhere they'll have a bakery and so you potentially go and pick up your croissants and stuff on a morning. Maybe that kind of thing could be quite good.
I don't deny that we need more good food, and I don't begrudge a French brasserie entering the village. It's just the location I feel is a bit of a shame because of, I mean, a lot of the people in the chat and us, we go quite often, but if you think of that emotion of the first visit or the visit where you had when you were 10 or the first visit as an adult or something, that excitement and feeling and nostalgia you have for it, I don't think that brasserie will become part of it.
There's never going to be a time in 30 years when someone looks back and goes, "Oh, do you remember that Rosary brasserie?
That was such a good French onion soup."
Oh, the cladding.
Yeah, it's not quite the same. I think that's what we're saying. I know what you're saying, Mark. But it just, if they'd put it somewhere else around the back near this water feature they're going to build, it might have fitted a bit better.
Costume Ken says, "Don't judge a book. I think it looks lovely."
Yeah, it does.
It's all right.
It does look lovely.
Yeah.
And I guess we won't know for certain how it's going to fit in with the general aesthetics until we actually get what we're going to get over the next 6 years, is it?
6 years.
So
that's the first thing, though. That's the first phase. I presume they're going to work down that road.
It better get more exciting as these announcements come.
And the thing is, I say this all the time, whenever we get new announcements of things with Disney, either side of the Atlantic, there's a strong probability that I will have something negative or moany to say about it because I don't like change. And then Disney almost always knock it out of the park. So
she doesn't like change. That's why I had to shave off a moustache this morning.
Remember that Maxwell House advert where the guy is there and he goes, "We don't like change, do we, Marjorie?" And she stood behind him and she goes, "No." And then she holds up the Maxwell House and goes,
Chris pulls an excited face, listeners.
Thank you.
Wow, that is actually, I mean, I don't remember that, and I remember all sorts of old.
I remember that.
I thought that'd be nailed on that you'd remember that.
No, I was singing I Could Do With a D earlier.
Yes,
as you recall, before we set up.
Well, I'm going to bring the mood down a bit.
Oh, it's already quite low. We're slagging off the only announcement we've had. Not the only one, but one of the first announcements about Disney Village.
Shanghai Disneyland is closed indefinitely amid a spike in COVID-19 cases. Now, the thing here is it doesn't affect us directly, but
doesn't affect us.
I just find it a little bit scary to think it could happen again.
I know.
I think that's what it is. I think
Yeah.
we're learning to live with it. There's vaccinations, there's testing. We've done that. We've all done the whole thing with traveling, with documentation. We think, all right. So even if there's another spike, we've got it sussed.
Mm-hmm.
We're all right. But now to think that they've got to the point where they've locked down again, I'm like, oh, no, that can't happen again. And just to give you a bit of background, they were the first park to close in 2020. They closed on the 25th of January, 2020. But they reopened on the 11th of May, 2020, and stayed reopened until this week. They're the only park... No, they're not the only park to stay open. I know Disney World stayed open once it reopened, so did Disneyland. However, Disneyland was the very, very last to reopen by a long way.
Mm-hmm.
But Tokyo, Hong Kong and Paris have all had to reclose after opening. So Shanghai managed to stay open. And also, I remember quite distinctly when we were giving news about Paris shutting again the second time, Shanghai was getting rid of social distancing queues. They were bringing back all the meets and greets. You could do character dining. They were bringing back everything at the same time. And we were like, oh, they've got it sussed. Look at those guys over there. So also a little bit of information within the region of Shanghai is it's going into a full total lockdown, including public transport, where the vast majority of citizens are told to stay in their houses for the next 9 days. They're doing it, I can't remember which way it is, but there's the west side and the east side of the city. They're doing one side of the city first, starting Monday.
West side.
Was it west side first?
East side. No, I'm just making some finger gestures.
He's been funny. That's it. And then in 5 days, the other side will start their lockdown. I'm not sure why they're doing that, but they are. I haven't looked into it very deeply. I'm sure there's very good reasons. I'm not saying that facetiously. I genuinely don't know the reason. So yeah, they're doing that's that. I've nothing to say. It's sad. We hope it won't happen again. It's closed, Mark. Mark's saying, so is Shanghai Disney closing again? It's closed.
Sure.
And then the rest of the city...
Ferme.
I was just going to say Ferme.
The rest of the city follow them on Monday. But, you know, it's because they've given them like 3 days notice of this lockdown, the queues at the supermarkets or the grocery shops are mental.
Fun.
Can you imagine? It's like you've got... Everybody in the town has got 3 days to do 2 weeks shopping, basically. And it's...
We need to get on this...
toilet rolls.
This
Panic box.
apocalypse box.
We do. Me and Hughes keep saying we're going to get an apocalypse box, a survival box or whatever in the garage, full of like dried pasta and tins of beans, and bottled water.
And then what do you do when they get close to their sell-by date? You replace
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Hugh lives on reminders in his phone for things like this, and he will genuinely get a reminder in 3 years going, pasta in garage going off.
Yeah. I'm setting one now that says 2 spare Mother's Day cards for next Mother's Day.
Mothering Sunday cards.
Mothering Sunday, yeah.
Lucy, can I ask you something?
Is it personal?
Yes, it is.
So a couple of weeks ago, you complained about the fact that you don't have a container from which to drink your drinks from. So can I ask you what's in your tiki cup?
You can.
It's showtime! All together! Your tiki cup in your tiki cup. Well, you made yourself a beverage, I'll drink it up from your tiki cup.
Well, I have been provided with a Jawa tiki cup.
It's mine. You need to. We're going to get her own.
Get my drink out of. And in it, I've got cherries and berries cordial because I'm hardcore. But I have to say, guys, I'm not loving it because the curve of the lip doesn't work.
You just have to get into it.
Yeah, you do. You just have to let yourself go with the tiki cup.
It's quite hard work. That I don't feel like
Embrace it.
I can swig with reckless abandon. I
No,
don't
you
feel like I
can't.
could just do that. I feel like I have to go.
You have to treat it with respect.
Mm-hmm.
Like cup my
It'll
lower
go
lip.
everywhere if you do if you drink it like that. It's just a bit more presentable than the bottle that you normally use.
Oh, it is. Apologies.
What have we got, Hugh?
We've got Raspberry Fanta Zero.
Raspberry Fanta Zero.
Which we complained before being a bit tasteless, but I've continued to buy it, and I'm into it now.
Well, interestingly enough, I think I mentioned the other week about my strange nasal and taste buds and stuff, but not testing positive for COVID. And actually, this is tastier now than it was when we had it 2 weeks ago.
It's not brilliant, but it's better than water.
pretty good.
Well, it's not better than water, but it's better than water.
On a par.
But it's better than water. You know what
Costume Ken is Clever Dick, and he says use a straw. Good tip, Costume
Yes.
Ken. I might do that.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
I mean? Clever Dick's a bit of an insult.
Is it?
Yeah.
Smarty Pants. He's a Smarty Pants. Is Smarty Pants an insult?
That's a bit better, but
Brainiac?
He's a...
not clever clogs.
Clever
That's
clogs?
also a bit rude. Smart one.
That's just patronising.
He is a person of good ideas.
Just well done, all right? Well done
Yeah.
with
Thank
his,
you,
with his
Costume
straw
Ken.
advice. Well
Straw.
done.
I've heard of these straws. Have you? I've heard of them.
Yes,
Such a thing.
Yeah, because we bought a new drinking cup for Oliver this week because every time we go to Asda, he sees something else at Stitch and we have to buy it.
Oh, no.
It's beyond obsession right now.
I bought Bonnie one of those character balloons with concertina legs that children drag round shopping centres. I've never seen her so happy. She giggled up and down the White Rose Centre. And I never just do impulse, make my child happy kind of purchases like that. But that was one time when I thought that's £6. There it is. £6 well spent.
He was
She
holding
was
up his phone
delighted.
with the photograph in hand.
Of the pink llama, who's called Neon Candy, or Nandy for short.
Anyway, on with the show.
Yes.
Mark says he enjoys it when we insult listeners and viewers.
As we often do.
You know, deep down, so do I, Mark. Right.
Deep down, we hate you all.
With love. Peace and love and hate.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Right, the final piece of news I'm kind of
news.
going to hand over to Chris for, because there are people out there who have far more information than us. As you know, we intended to go to the annual pass party last night, but we could not get tickets. Now, as it is, it's turned out to be an incredibly busy month, so we would have struggled, but we would have gone, God damn it. So we're having to rely on other people who did get tickets with their trip reports to tell us all about it. So it was on Friday night. It was in celebration of the 30th anniversary, and it was for annual pass holders with tickets only. And over to you, Chris.
Right, well, first off, just because I made one last week, I'm going to play a jingle again because we've got quite a few different things from listeners today. So here's our roundup.
Audience trip roundup.
Yeehaw!
I've been trying to remember what that jingle was because I recorded it and then I forgot. So on my way here from my wing to your wing, I was trying desperately to remember what it was. Anyway, enough about that. Jade, who's in the chat at this moment in time.
How meta.
Yeah. Well, she has just got back from Disney, and on her way back, she wrote a trip report because she's been to the annual pass holders event thing on Friday, thanks to her friend Carrie. I think it's Carrie. Is it Carrie? Tell me that I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, Jade. Carrie,
I remember a Carrie.
who's an annual pass holder and got them tickets, so they managed to go to the party. She's written me a report, and there are some pictures here as well. So I'm going to put the pictures on in a second because I'm having to press lots of buttons. Here we go. Here are the pictures. Here. Now, I'm going to pass over control of the pictures to Lucy so that I can read the report and she can be clicking through as we go. So, Jade says, they started the evening by going to Earl of Sandwich about 7 and went to queue after eating at about 7:30, 8 o'clock, with the party due to start at 9:15. There was already quite a queue to get in, and when they got in, the Fab Five were greeting guests at the gazebo at the top of Main Street, USA, in their 30th anniversary outfits. Walking down Main Street was magical experience as there were bubbles everywhere. We made our way to the Central Plaza, which had been roped off for the opening ceremony. Follow the light. The celebrations kicked off with Mickey introducing the show. Then there was a spectacular light show with sparklers and fire going off everywhere in the Central Plaza. After the first show, there was a quick clean-up of all the pyrotechnics, and then we were allowed to go into the Central Plaza and the stages for the next show. They performed the new amazing 30th Stage Day show. This was our 5th time seeing the show, and we watched it on the only stage we hadn't seen it from yet, on the right side of the castle. That's pretty cool. No, sorry. That was an aside. She didn't write that.
Change your voice to
Oh, yeah, sorry. Once that show ended, we moved closer to the castle to see the Disney Delight show, which was simply fantastic. From there, we decided to try and get to see all of the 3 other shows that were performing that night. Each one was due to perform 3 times. That's a lot going on, isn't it? Was that a different enough voice? No. The first of them we saw was C'est Magique, performed in Videopolis. The show was amazing, and just the same as when it was performed when the parks first opened. It took us on a journey through the entire Magic Kingdom, and dancers and the costumes were just amazing. Next, we went and watched Le Vive Magique de Mickey, Mickey's Magic Book, on the castle stage. This show took us on a journey through some of Disney's classical fairy tale stories. My personal favourite was the fight between Prince Philip and Maleficent. Thank you. We then are now between the show and the final one of the night, so we decided to go and meet a character. There were quite a few to choose from, including characters from Beauty and the Beast, Robin Hood, Big Hero 6, Hercules, Mulan, and more. We decided in the end to go and try see if we could meet Angel from Stitch. We were lucky. I have those pictures. Oh, that was good timing, wasn't it? We were lucky, and I've lost my place. I managed to get there in the line in time to beat both Angel. To both get to meet Angel after the character switch and before the line was closed off. And we got to the front of the queue after about 20-minute wait. In the line, we also started talking to a group in front of us who'd focused their night on meeting characters. From what they said, the majority of wait times were fairly decent, and they'd only had to wait about 20 or 30 minutes on average for the characters that they met. They did tell us that a few queues were quite long, with a 2-hour wait for characters. They also reported a mix of different situations, with character meets being between socially distant and non-social distant meets and greets. The Fab Five in their 30th outfits were social distance, as well as all face characters, and apparently Baymax as well. And I guess that potentially changes now with what you were saying before. We were lucky as Angel was not social distance, and we were able to hug her. Oh, that's nice. Finally, we caught the last show back at the Central Plaza about 1:15. The final show was called Mickey's Magical Souvenirs, and was a montage of shows for different celebrations and seasons from throughout all the years of Euro Disney through to the current DLP. As well, they went through years they had different projections on the castle to go with the stage performance. They even included the Princess and Pirates season. The entire night was just so magical, and we had a fantastic time. How's that?
What the Pirates and Princess music?
No, the hub dance section of that parade.
Oh, right.
She's basically got everything I was going to say, which is what I expected she would. So that was fantastic. Thank you so much.
It was Carrie, a friend, and she took the pictures.
And it's lovely to have it written in first person, so we know in reality that it's possible to do these things. Because when you see the contents of a thing like that and you know how long it lasts, you think, how can you possibly do that? But you did. You met characters. You saw all the shows. Absolutely amazing, and I hope everyone else had a good time.
We did like the photograph with the drones forming the like Tinkerbell arch over the castle, because we haven't seen that before, have we?
No, we haven't. Everything.
And I imagine that can be lit up in sequence.
Yeah.
Across
that. That would be cool.
That would look ace, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It really adds something that it frames it really nice. Those drones.
I am digging the drones.
I do think it probably depends on where you stood, though, doesn't it, as to how good it looks. I'm sure it still looks good in most places, but I think being right in front of the castle is...
that was to the side of it,
Yeah, I was going to say that
it looked good.
All the other photos I've seen online have been head-on, and my thoughts were the same, but that was to the side. I suspect that she was standing towards where Winnie the Pooh meets, around that corner. Yeah. And it still looked pretty good. Still looked great. I'm just going to mention a few more things. Rare characters. I've got, amongst others... ones that you didn't just mention. We had Friar Tuck. I want to put Megan, and I mean Megara. It must have spell checked me. Megara. Hiro Hamada. Am I saying that right?
Hiro
Hamada.
Hiro Hamada.
Yeah, equal emphasis on all syllables.
From Big Hero 6.
Hiro Hamada.
Now, the shows that she mentioned, if this wasn't clear, are real shows from the past 30 years that have been performed in Disneyland Paris, and they've use their archives to bring them back exactly as they were performed at the time. So she mentioned C'est Magic, It's Magic, at Videopolis, and Mickey's Magic Book on the castle stage. Both of those are real shows that have been performed in the past. And then what she was saying at the end, Mickey's Magical Memories, Disney Dreams was the old projection show that we used to watch. They did a combination of that and different season parades, float and party things. They had the Princess and Pirates parade, not the parade, the party dance. And she kind of touched on this, but do you know that for the fifth anniversary, they made the castle look like a blow-up bouncy castle cake thing?
Yes, I think I might have seen pictures of that. Yeah.
So they projected onto the castle to make the castle look like it looked for all the anniversaries.
Oh, that's cool.
So they projected the 25th anniversary onto it. They projected this weird 5th cake on.
They projected the box scaffolding.
Yes, they should have done.
from last year. And everyone was like, "Oh, do you remember? Oh, when it looked like Minecraft."
But all my information is coming from what I've been following other Twitter accounts, vloggers, bloggers online. So it's really nice to have Jade say that far more concisely and knowledgeably than I could. So thank you for doing that trip report for us, Jade.
Claire's
Jade-
saying,
I'm jealous, though.
I was going to say, Jade's also sent through some other pictures because it was her first trip to DLP, I think she said. So we'll have a look at that stuff as well, Jade, maybe
Hang on.
next week at some
She
point.
wangled an annual pass party on her first trip to DLP.
Well, that's how I read it anyway. That is how I read it.
Claire was saying that Hero looked so scary.
Yeah.
There's something weird
Yeah.
about his face.
It's a weird one, though, because they've done Hero as a face character, and now they were doing him as... You can't really call him a fur character when he's not fur, but, you know, a cartooned character. And I think he does work better as a fur character because he's more in proportion the way he is in the film than just having a person. But it's doing faces is very difficult. If you ever want to be terrified, go on and look up Jessica Rabbit.
Oh, my word.
Jessica Rabbit character.
It's a stuff of nightmares.
It really
honestly.
is.
If you look at the...
But still strangely alluring.
No, it's not. It's really not.
It's really
It's just
upsetting.
horrible. Just horrible.
It's a big plastic boobs as well.
Yeah, it's not pleasant.
No. Right.
Right. Do you want more?
Feed me, Chris, more.
Cool. Right. Just give me a second to find my notes then, because last week I printed all this out. You know, like old-fashioned people. And this week
printed.
I know. This week I kept it on here. So, as I mentioned last week, Magical by Sarah sent a load of videos through, and I couldn't work out how to get them off Instagram, but I've done it now. I've done it, and so we've got some stuff that Magical by Sarah sent through. So it's a good opportunity to look at some of the snacks and sweet stuff. I thought I've taken the audio off this because there was all the ambience, but I've taken the audio off so we can talk over it.
In the 30th. Oh, it's. No, was that in that?
It's a Mickey Premium Bar.
It is a Mickey
Presumably
Premium Bar.
not called a Mickey Premium Bar, though. Is that my imagination?
Choc
Is that
ice.
small?
Yeah, we're saying like, why haven't we had those before?
These milkshakes look amazing. Every time I see them, I just
do.
think, why have I not been there?
It's a milkshake with a cookie on top.
They do a lot. They do them a lot of season milkshakes as well for different things. It's always worth going. Now, we were saying beforehand, we do criticise the snack game at Disneyland Paris, and then we see videos like this. Oops. And we're like, oh no, we can't. Look, it's amazing. They've got all this stuff. But the majority of it is inside at sit-down locations. And I think it's you walk around the park snacks.
Well,
that just,
we're looking at an ice cream now with Stitch ears in it, and that's like on Main Street. So
Ollie really liked the look of that.
Yeah,
I bet he did.
So that's
Yeah.
the carry-around snack, and that's what we're talking about. That's what we want. We don't want the. You don't have to commit to queuing up and going and standing somewhere. You just want to pick something up from a cart, which is why we like to see the Mickey Premium Bar and the Stitch ice cream and just things you can grab and
it's definitely
sit
improving
out and
now.
eat them.
And there's some amazing looking cake pops and things going on at the Boardwalk Bakery on Main Street. Some really good looking stuff.
What if Disneyland Paris have listened to us? Since we go on about the park snacks so much, and they said, guys, this hot new up and coming podcast says we need more park snacks.
Yeah,
Sort it out.
deeds not words. Deeds not words.
I just keep looking at these things and thinking the amount of times that we've laughed about shortbread and stuff, and actually, the game's pretty strong. It might not be the stuff you can carry around with you, but there's still some pretty awesome sweet stuff going
it's
on.
always been good puddings that you get at like buffets and
Oh,
things.
always.
That's
That's where
good.
their strong game is. The patisseries at your buffets.
But you wouldn't necessarily know that they were there if you weren't going to one of those meals, and you were just going around and it was just carts selling Soleros and Twisters, Magnums,
Calypsos.
Yeah, I mean, if you can do a Magnum, you can do a Mickey Premium Bar because it's basically the same thing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But
mate.
you know what? We joke about the shortbread and the Nutella, like you say. I think it is definitely getting stronger since before the pandemic. I think we're starting to see some
Since Laughing
really
Cow
interesting.
turned up.
Yeah,
Clash.
That was the moment.
Claire's throwing some shade here. She says, they can't have listened to you. Your beloved mango whip would still be
it's
there
fair.
if so.
That is a very fair point. That is a really fair point.
Yeah. Well, but, you know.
Can I just say,
I'm gonna make a mango whip T-shirt and I'm gonna wear it to the parks. And it's gonna become a thing, and people are gonna be like, "Hey, where'd you get the T-shirt?" And before you know it, I'll just put the vibe out. And
maybe
then
that
Bring
should
a
be our
photograph of
merch.
you holding it.
Maybe that
Like
should
your
be our
hand in
merch.
shot, like an
just that.
Instagrammable post, just that on a T-shirt. I'd love that.
Can I just say, from the video we just watched, there was a couple of interesting cocktails. And as somebody who doesn't really drink, I never stopped drinking. I just stopped drinking, and now I don't really drink. I am always drawn to elaborate cocktails. I look at them and I think, that just looks so fancy and ace, and I always want them.
It's so
But
fancy.
I
That's
do
what,
get...
Paging Mr. Morrow says.
Yeah.
It's so fancy.
If I can get a fancy mocktail, something in a coconut or something, I will always go for a fancy mocktail. But it's the one thing that very occasionally I just go, do you know what? I want to stand there with a glow cube in my martini glass. And it's entirely for shallow aesthetic reasons, but I can be drawn by the odd fancy cocktail if the mood takes me.
If the mood takes you.
And then regret it sometimes.
Magical by Sarah also sent some video of something else that I thought was quite interesting, because we've talked about Minnie. We've talked about her in her pantsuit.
Yep.
But we haven't really seen any of it, and we haven't been able to show it and talk about it beyond the concept art. So I thought I'd just chuck this video in as well, just to show what she's been up to.
She skips onto the stage in her pantsuit.
And then starts a PowerPoint presentation.
Well, yeah, it looks like she's going to do that or go to bed.
Oh, isn't she fierce though? Look at her. She's
Do you know
amazing.
what? That does look like pajamas to me.
Yes, it does to me.
Yeah, I know what you
I'm
mean.
not getting
like
this
silk PJs.
Yeah, it's not sort of power suity or anything like that. Well, it's not supposed to be power suit, but it doesn't look pantsuity to me. It looks like pajamas.
Be gone in a couple of days, won't it?
I
What were
think
it, 27th? 4 days?
Yeah, 4 days. I think it must... I mean, I'm critiquing the cut now. It must be hard to do a tailored cut on a soft frame, so to speak.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I think she looks fabulous. But look, I'm more interested. Look at the way she moves.
She looks like a tour guide or something.
Oh, she's awesome. She's so cool.
I mean, I'm not ragging on it. I think
She's my girl.
It looks like something else than
That
the concept art would suggest.
Is a big venue and theatre for a single meet, though. When we've done meets in there's been multiple characters on the stage, so you can move your guests along conveyor belt style. I wonder how long the queues were for that.
Where was that again?
Yeah,
It was where we met Avengers Studio Theatre, I think it is.
Yeah.
Sarah, how long were the queues for it?
Yeah.
Tell us.
In time,
And how are they managing it?
Time and length.
Since Line Bertie
Please.
seems to have died a convenient death. Has anyone heard anything of Line Bertie recently? I hope to
No.
God not.
No, not at all.
It was an amazing meet, and it was worth the 1 hour and 30 minutes. That's the I was thinking it would be.
Wow.
I think my opinion on that is it's something I might do, because I know I will go to Disneyland Paris again. I think if it's your only trip or your first trip, I don't think that's an hour and 30 minutes well spent. I suppose it's what your priority is.
Jade says it was. Jade
Yeah.
says
Well,
it was an
yeah.
amazing
Yeah.
meet and worth
Yeah.
the hour and 30,
Well, yeah.
and that was her first trip. So.
Depends who you
That's
are.
fine.
Entirely does.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
be for me,
No.
but then I wouldn't do. I wouldn't want to wait for 20 minutes to do it either, because it's not my style. What is my style is this combining of the Mango Whip and Devo, as Mark Riley says. Yeah. Mango Whip it good, because I love Devo, one of my top 10 favourite bands.
Wow.
But that song, not so bothered about that song. I like the deep cuts.
You always do, Hugh.
Yeah, I do. We heard Mr. Blue Sky on the radio today, and I was like, I do like this song. Obviously, I like it, but it's over. We've heard Mr. Blue Sky.
It's too common, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm getting
with you on
shot
that.
down in the chat, though. People are saying that they'd happily wait the 2 hours, the hour and a half. It's horses for courses, isn't it? It's whatever you prefer.
It's Mises for pieces.
We're famously impatient with queuing, aren't we?
Sarah says the whole place was very creative. It wasn't your standard meet and greet.
Oh, good.
So there you go.
That's what I felt when we saw the Marvel characters in there. The way they came on, the way the music was playing, the way the lighting was. It felt you were really experiencing something, as opposed to just walking into a room. But I think that's what sets Disney apart from the rest of the entertainment industry, really, isn't it? They're just...
You see, I'm not one for meats, but I did have a smile on my face then. Because just thinking about that Captain America meat. I liked him.
He was good.
French Captain America.
French Captain Americano. Oh no, that would be Italian. Okay, ignore me.
L'etats unis. Is it? I don't know. I can't remember how to pronounce it.
Anyway. Now, I've got a couple more things, but I'm very conscious of time, and I've also forgotten something. So, Laura, I did this last week. Lucas's girlfriend's mum brought us a couple of things back that I think we're going to use for a bit of a giveaway at some point, aren't we? So I've forgotten to bring those, but Laura's also sent a trip report through as well. So I think next week, if that's all right, I'll do her trip report. I've also got something from Caitlin Jackson, who I don't know if you remember, but Caitlin was actually in the airport about to go to Paris from Baltimore, I assume, last week. So I've got a little something from Caitlin as well, which she probably isn't expecting, because it's something that's arrived quite late in the day. Anyway, but do you guys remember Sam Cartwright?
Of course.
Sam Cartwright's one of our Disney Street pals and has been for quite some time. And she won one of the 4 prizes when we did our Patreon giveaway. Well, she's been in touch.
She seems so surprised, Chris.
I know. I'm going to read out what she's written, and she's got a couple of questions and things, but it's just quite a nice message. Me and my husband Alex have been listening to the podcast for a while now, and we love the show. We became Patreon subscribers when you did the giveaway, and we won one of the prizes, if you remember. We have a trip to DLP booked for the end of May, and had some questions to ask you for the show, if you have time. Have we got time?
Yeah.
Right, okay
15 minutes.
15 minutes. There we go. We've got 15 minutes.
I think I have these questions on here. Go on, keep going.
9
We were
minutes.
just wondering if you have any advice for families with multiple young children. We're staying at Davy Crockett Ranch and are a family of 6. We have me, my husband, an 11-year-old, 3-year-old, 1-year-old, and a 10-month-old. We usually use a double buggy for the little ones, but we had the idea of getting a fold-up trailer type thing to put them or push them around in while in the parks. Do you know if these are allowed? That's the first question. Do we know if those are allowed?
I've never seen one. Now,
No, we've seen loads,
have we?
like everywhere, but then they
we've
got
seen
banned.
right.
So in 2017, 2018, they will have been crowding up every single walkway, and since they did get banned, and they were quite strict on it, and they had like a square
I
map.
remember Walt Disney World changed the size of the pushchair you could have. It could only be of a certain size.
And it had to fit within this square. But since the lockdown, I did see a couple back at the lockdown, but it's the same way. I think they're just sneaking through again.
Right.
It's the same way that you still see extending selfie sticks when they're meant to be banned as well. I personally, I'm really sorry to say I wouldn't, because you could put all your plans in it and get there and they say no.
Put all your kids in it.
I do think they're a brilliant idea, though. Honestly, we miss our pushchair. Well, I miss our pushchair so much for bunging all the drinks bottles in the bottom and stuff like that. And I'd love to cart a trolley round. But if you can get away with a double pushchair, I know it's massive, but at least you've got a carrying item.
As we were discussing the other week.
Chris, you have multiple children. We have 1 children.
Yeah.
So you're better equipped to answer that question, but...
Well, I guess the first time we went, Ollie would have been 1.5, and the second time we went, he would have been about 3. So I can relate to those ages, and Lucas kind of in between. Do you know? I think you've got to be resigned to the fact that it's going to be a lot of walking. We always talk about this. It's the same for everyone. But yeah, having something that they can rest in is massively important, especially for the little ones. And sometimes for the older ones, if they're just a bit tired and they just want to have a rest for a few minutes.
I'm just looking, though. She's got a 3-year-old, a 1-year-old, and a 10-month-old. So they're not all going to go in the double buggy.
No.
So you might want to carry her.
Yeah, or a second pushchair. Ooh.
Oh. I'm pulling my face for you. I'm thinking that would be hard work for you. I mean, feel free if that's the right choice.
One of the things I would say is when Ollie was younger, the first time we went full board, and yes, there are drawbacks to going full board without a doubt. But one of the great things about it was we had a proper sit down opportunity at a table. We didn't have to fight for somewhere to sit. We didn't have to queue for ages to eat, and it gave us a proper respite. And for the kids, that was really, really valuable. So that's something I would definitely consider, is getting into the restaurants to eat. Obviously it's expensive when you've got so many of you, but then 2 of you won't be paying for the food, because the younger kids, well, the 10-month-old might be just on food, just starting to eat bits, and then the 1-year-old can eat off your plate basically, and in the buffets, that means they get a plate and they can just eat. So that's pretty good as well. What else would I say?
I'm just going to go to the chat while you think, because Mark has said that trailers are allowed. And I'm now wondering if I am thinking about Disney World, because, of course, we have to consider taking pushchairs to Disney World as well.
What are you doing to our credibility?
I know there was a time when I was considering a trolley and I looked it up and we couldn't.
Kiva said she's seen them at the park recently.
I've seen them at the park. I know I've seen them at the park. I'm just not sure whether they're allowed. It's worth looking up. I might be mixing it up with Walt Disney World. I apologise if I am. Sarah has suggested a double buggy with a buggy board with a seat on it. I was going to suggest that. But 3 is still quite tiny for a 10-hour day, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Good luck.
I agree with what you were saying about having that hour in a restaurant to sit and breathe.
It makes a massive difference. And we always went back to the hotel pretty early with the boys, but it was Halloween or Christmas, the 2 times that we went. So, yes, it was open late-ish, but it was still... it was dark and the kids were getting tired, so it made sense. But don't eat too, you've got kids, don't eat too late in the day. All that stuff that you usually have with kids, it's just the same there. One thing I would say is I love you guys, your idea of playing choosers when you go, and the idea of giving your kids the opportunity to choose what you do next and stuff is brilliant. Yeah, you can get quite lost in the whole idea of, well, this one's quiet, so let's run over there. Now we're going to run over here, and
there's
just
a
let
bit
them
of
dictate
that
it.
Interrupting the flow a bit. We go, I know it's your choose, but we're walking past Snow White and it's 10 minutes, so we might as well do that. And Bonnie's at the age where she understands that now. But it sounds amazing. You just go there with your kids, but like they do become a bit disengaged after a while if you're not giving them some input. So you're right.
And then the adults
get them involved.
Sometimes have to use their choosers to say, right, I choose to spend 10 minutes just sitting in the shade here for a minute. And I think that's okay. And then her next choose will be, I want to run around Alice's Labyrinth like a mental case for the next 20 minutes. And you kind of, sometimes we would use our choosers to counteract hers to kind of make it a more sensible day. But we certainly let her have input with the day. And I think you'll have an 11-year-old with very strong opinions of what they want to do and a 3-year-old with very strong yet probably quite poor opinions of what they want to do. And you've got to let that 11-year-old go on Space Mountain because they want to, but then let the 3-year-old choose what they want to do. So
toilet breaks don't count as choosers as well.
Yes, no. No, they don't.
Unless you go to Toad Hall.
The Dunn family brought up baby swap. That will be absolutely mandatory. That is where if you want to go on Space Mountain, for example, one adult can queue and go on Space Mountain and then say, but I'm going to baby swap with my partner, and they can come off, and then the other adult doesn't have to queue. They can go through the fast pass entrance. But what will be really great for your family is the 11-year-old can go on twice. So the 11-year-old can go on with the first adult and the second adult, which is a bit of a hack. So both adults get to ride it. The 11-year-old gets to enjoy the time with the parents, both parents, and the other 3 children have got things looking after. You're staying in the right place, though. When you said you got multiple children, the next sentence was, we're at Davy Crockett Ranch. Yeah. I'm like, that's the right thing to do. Go to that swimming pool and go to that complex to eat and things. That's really well set up, playgrounds, etc. for your group.
And it might be it might be the drive-in every day, but in actual fact, because of where you park, it's going to be reasonably decent. It's not like if you're staying at Santa Fe or Cheyenne, it's a hell of a walk in. It really is, isn't it? And I think the buses with all those pushchairs and things will be a bit of a nightmare. So I think you've definitely made the right choice there in terms of the hotel. Yeah. Next question.
Yes.
So she says, also our 3-year-old Margot is autistic. So have we any advice regarding guests with special needs?
Right. My advice immediately would be to go to town hall and explain the situation and see if you qualify for a green pass. They're not called green passes anymore, are they? For the disability access pass. I have very limited experience with autistic children. However, working in education and teaching, I have had several in my class, and one thing I know is they can have very, very different needs and requirements. Yeah. So if you've got a statement, I think 3 might be a bit young. I know when they start mainstream school, you get a statement of special educational needs, don't you? That can help them decide what passes are correct for you, because sometimes it's you don't have to queue if they've got problems with this. Other times if they've got sensory issues, the queuing's fine, but they will advise on certain rides, or they'll be able to provide assistance in different situations. It is so these days it's so accessible and specified to you and your needs. You just need to go and talk to them.
Yeah, I'd encourage anyone who does have experience to leave a comment in this chat and under the video as well. Either or. Yeah, because I've got a niece who's autistic, but even though she's my niece and we see them quite often, I wouldn't know personally how to answer that.
And our niece,
experience.
One thing I will say, I mean, unfortunately she hasn't been to Disneyland Paris. I think we should take her sometime. But our niece was non-verbal till she was about 7. And I have seen other children in the parks similar to our niece, and the characters are so brilliant. And I'm like, oh, Poppy would love that. They're so amazing with them. So depending on your child's individual needs, I think that you can probably find some just life-changing experiences, because it makes me cry when I see stuff like that going on. I just think, oh, Poppy would love this.
Sarah's saying she could be wrong about this, but she thinks she saw on Facebook that recently that you need to email and request passes before going now. Hang on a minute, is this for Baby Swap?
No, this will be for your disability access pass.
Oh, right.
I know they changed it since coming back from
yes,
COVID.
It will be that. Yeah, I'm going to say for the Baby Swap. Email who? Right. Okay. So
you see, this is why I get really worried, because we're not travel agents.
Do check. Yeah.
We're Disney fans. We're not travel agents. We're not even site-specific experts. We tend to just follow along with the rest of you.
But do tell us your experience though as well, because then we can help shape.
We
that in
can
the future
help
for
other
people as
people.
well. So.
And Kiva's saying. She's also seen that, but there's a list of acceptable documents on the DLP website. If you email your hotel concierge, they'll advise you and bring your docs when you go. Like, because in the States, they wouldn't.
No, they're not allowed to ask.
They're not allowed to ask, but don't forget, in Paris, they are allowed to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex says, thanks for the suggestions, guys. Really appreciate it. I'm excited and terrified in equal measure.
That's as it should be.
I'm so sorry, Alex, but honest, if you can tell us when you get back all the questions that you have, if you can tell us the answers that you discover, then we'll be able to help people in the future.
Yeah.
Particularly with disability access and stuff, because that's not anything that we've ever had to deal with, families, etc. Even like you took, I don't want to call your parents elderly because they're so blooming energetic. They're so energetic, but I suppose technically.
Well, he was 74.
Yeah, and he was struggling with his hip at the time, was he?
No, well, no, he wasn't. He's had a hip replacement.
He'd had his hip done.
We're getting close.
He's fitter now than he ever has been.
We're getting close.
Yes, he is now.
I have a condition where sometimes I might need to get a pass, but most of the time I'm fine.
One day.
Yeah, one day, hopefully I'll get there and I'll be in one of my ill phases and I'll be like, I will need that pass, to be fair.
Oh, that's a sad thought.
I'll get into specifics. But it's a condition where you do need to leave a queue.
Now, moving on. There's one last thing.
People are like, what is it?
There's one last thing from
It's bad bowels.
from Sam and Alex, which is this. My husband Alex is a really big fan of the classic show. He sometimes comments on YouTube because he doesn't have other social media and wanted to put forward the film Swiss Family Robinson as an option to review one day, as it's one of his favourites growing up, and he had it on VHS. And that's quite a nice idea. Lastly, we forgot to ask you for a Patreon shout out at the time, and we'd really like Hugh to do Jeffrey the Animator if possible. We might have to explain that.
Yeah.
So this is for who? Whom?
For Alex.
For Alex and
Sam, I guess.
And Sam.
Yeah.
And now people might not know who Jeffrey the Animator is. But if you don't know, then go back and listen to all of our classics episodes. He's a character who was an animator in the early days of Disney, and he got some bad things happened, and he left eventually, didn't he? But then his son joined, right? And so I'm sure Jeffrey the Animator would be glad to say. You didn't be going into it there, didn't you?
Do you little warm up?
Yeah. Well, and
thanks for listening. It's been really great to have you on board, Alex and Sam. And I've been working hard, but as you know, Disney didn't treat me so well, and I had some good ideas, some real solid ideas. But he didn't listen to my ideas, and I left. I took my ideas, and I left. But I'm back, and I'm here to tell you, from an animator's heart, that we're glad to have you. We're glad.
Oh my!
That's your applause.
That's Jeffrey the
I would have
animator.
clapped slower than that, but yeah.
Oh, I like him. He's better than Daz.
We've always liked Jeffrey.
Yeah.
I miss Jeffrey. I miss Jeffrey being on our show. Maybe we need to bring him back. Maybe I need to give him a jingle. He needs a jingle.
Yeah.
I just can't see Jeffrey working on.
Jeffrey.
Maybe he went on to be an
Working on
Imagineer.
turning
What
red.
episode,
you know.
what episode did he first crop up on?
Oh, it'll be.
It was when the trouble was starting, wasn't
Oh
it?
yeah.
Oh, the trouble days. There's some trouble back in those days.
Oh yeah.
Big trouble.
It was back when the unions
That's right.
were getting tight on him. Right, shall I start to
Yeah, you can do that.
rattle
if you like.
down?
Yeah.
So next week, due to really complicated diary issues that I won't go into, we are unable to do a show on Sunday night. So we're going to do it on Monday night as a special treat. I think. Look at me like glossing it over.
Sam's in the chat
Saying
box.
this is good for you. Yeah, we're going to be doing it on a Monday night next week, so it'll be the same time, 8:30.
Because Chris said, I'm going to have a pop next week. And Lucy said, me too. And I went, me too.
Because I was about to say, you
it was very
two
easy.
are going to have to do the show on your own next week.
And
I'm
that's what
really
I was gonna
sorry,
say
but
as well.
before I even said it, you'd said the same, and then it was, okay. So no show.
No show.
But
Monday
on the
show.
Monday, we are starting a new little thing. Now, we started Patreon as a way...
Hugh looks confused. Oh,
doesn't-
we've discussed this and agreed it without Hugh's approval, but we're doing it anyway.
He was in the room.
He was.
I did
Just-
not sanction this.
Just doesn't listen. We started our Patreon just to literally raise money for. Can I hold stuff up or will it?
Yeah,
everything
don't press the
come out?
button though, because if you press any buttons on it,
Things
it might
like
disappear.
Let's just say
this.
goodbye now in case she presses the end.
Things
the
like
end
this.
button.
That's
and
my Stream
these.
Deck for those people
So
listening.
the
Microphones for those people
Patreon
listening.
account paid for our Stream Deck and our microphones and our microphone stands. I broke a bulb for one of the lights. It paid for that. Just little things that we need.
Our
so
UMC 404 HD.
that was the most exciting one actually. When you came home with
I
that.
was quite proud of that one. Yeah.
It was very exciting. Just pay for stuff like that. And then we thought it's time that we start giving back to you because people have been so generous and they've not got things in return like a lot of people do Patreon and they give things back in return because they wanted
We
to.
did the quiz.
We did. So what we've decided to start doing is we're going to do the show after the show. Or the after show party.
Party.
The after party. So we will log off here at 9:30ish. As you can see now, it's 9:37. We're always a
lucky you
little
guys.
bit over or a little bit under. And then we will have a 5-minute break and then we're going to come back on and do another 15 to 20 minutes just for Patreon people and just talk about anything. Basically, I'm going to try and come up with a few different ideas. We can do the rant or rave game. Like I mentioned something at Disneyland Paris and you say you're going to rave about it or you're going to rant about it. We can do that kind of thing. But it's just going to be a short extra show that is just for Patreon members. And it will be both on YouTube and...
No, it won't. It'll be on
won't.
Patreon.
It'll be on Patreon.
It'll be on Patreon, but
it'll be a video.
but
That's what I meant.
But I will also do it as a podcast as well.
There
'cause I
will
know some people
also
like
be
that,
in
so.
what Chris said.
Yeah.
Because he organises stuff like that. What I was trying to say is it will be video and audio
Yes,
is what I was
that.
trying to say. So from next week, the Patreon members can do that. And we're hoping that will also add as a little incentive for anyone else who would like to support us. What we only have one tier and it's very low, is it?
It's
£3.
£3. 3 of your English pounds.
£3 English pounds a month
Or your own currency's equivalent.
to come to our after show party every week. So have a think on that. And then if you join us next Monday, you can do the first Patreon after show party. And we don't know what we're going to talk about, so it's a little bit scary.
Probably ought to have a chat about that at some point, didn't we?
Yeah.
We'll just wing it.
Yeah.
I think we should just wing it. I think that's part of it.
That's what we do with
isn't
this
it?
show.
Yeah, absolutely. Who knows what we're going to talk about. So, boys, is there anything I've missed? Is there anything I want to say or do or show or...
No, sir. No, sir.
I'd like to say that I had another dining booking sesh for Walt Disney World this week, so I'm having to do it in 3 parts, and I managed to get a lunch reservation for Space 220.
Ooh.
That's the one where you go up
Yeah.
220 miles in a lift.
Claire won't be able to join us next show because she's going to be in Disney World.
Oh, what a shame.
Rude.
What a shame, Claire. And obviously, I mean, have an amazing time, and please tell them we'll be there soon. We're not far behind you, and if they get any lovely quick tips or eat anything amazing, come back and tell us, and maybe that's what we can talk about in the after show when you're back, obviously.
Cool.
Does anyone know, really quick from Charlotte before I say bye?
It's been answered.
It's been
okay.
answered.
It's been answered in the chat.
You've started now,
Okay.
though. So the
Yeah,
people
go on,
listening
answer
For
it.
the
go,
listeners, it was, does anyone know if the Skyline Bar takes bookings or if it's a walk-in? And then Kiva said it's a walk-in only, and she says amazing thanks, and then that's the end of the show. So thank you all very much for listening, and I hope to see you next Monday. Don't forget,
Monday,
next
Monday.
8:30, and join us for the after show party too.
Bye.
Bye.